Welcome back. This is K24 This Morning, your newspaper reviews second half. And right here, we're making sure you get yourself 250 shillings worth of airtime on this Monday morning, whether it's grey wherever you are, where the sun shines where you are. All you need to do is download your copy of your People Daily straight to your phone. You don't need a mobile app. You don't need any data on your phone. Just 10 shillings. The number that you need to download your paper is star 550 star 4 hash. Once again, the number is star 550 star 4 hash. Download your copy. Take that screenshot. Send it to the WhatsApp number at the bottom of the screen, and I send you airtime, all courtesy of the People Daily and Safaricom. We have a couple of winners. Let's have them up on screen very quickly. Gabriel Ndegwa watching from Freehold Estate, Nakuru. Well, Gabriel, you get yourself 250 bob worth of airtime. We have another winner, Alvin Chemwote from Mount Elgon as well. Alvin, you get yourself some airtime as well, 250 bob to be exact. And last but not least, good morning, Sandy from Syokimau here. With your downloaded copy of your PD. There you go. You get yourself airtime, all courtesy of the People Daily and Safaricom. We have one more. Let's have that up on screen. George Washenje from Taita Taveta. Congratulations, George. You also get yourself 250 shillings worth of airtime, all courtesy of the People Daily and Safaricom. It could be you, so keep downloading your copy. Send the screenshots to me. You walk away with the airtime right here on the show. Let's get back to the discussion we're having right now, because it seems like the three front pages are really talking about what we discussed earlier. But I want us to move it slightly along and talk about service delivery from this government. Over the weekend, we've had statements made, counter statements, statements to each other. Who is what? Who's the clerk? Who serves at what position in this particular cabinet? And the question begs, as we see this play out, when will the Kenyan get the service they want? Because we're standing at a situation where when you have CS Tobiko saying that the DP is a mere clerk, this is the second in command in this particular government. What does this mean for an institution that's supposed to be making sure that they deliver what should be done? Part of the people who made this promise is a person who's calling a clerk to the president. Dennis, yes. Very quickly before I bounce to Justice on this one, do we still have a government in place, or should we just scrap it and start afresh?
Brother, what it is that our constitution envisaged as part of the cabinet secretary, in fact, their job description states very well that we were looking for technocrats and experts within the domicile or the ministry that were supposed to practice their trade. Unfortunately, today we have chatterlands and politicians who have no sense of service at the end of the day. The vice president or the deputy president is actually part of the cabinet. He's not a presidential appointee. The Constitution wanted to do checks and balances on the presidency. That is why the deputy president is there, not as an appointee of the president, but a part of representative democracy voted by the people. Tobiko is not voted by the people. When we look at Chapter 6, Leadership on Integrity, Part 2, number 23, dictates that cabinet secretary or public officer must uphold political impartiality. So therefore, Tobiko and the fellow CSs are in violation and in contempt of the Constitution. And therefore, I believe that the prudent thing for the president to do, because also they have violated the president not once, not twice, not thrice, severally, that the president has said, I do not want to see CSs politicking. So, several things. Number one, they have no respect for the Constitution. They have no respect for the president. In fact, they think the president is just a mere small boy who just talks without acting. And that's the reason why you're even seeing these issues on COVID. The president applies himself to a presidential decree. None of his CSs respects. So is the president really exerting his force to his own people in his own backyard? You understand?
The counter-argument to that, Dennis, might be the fact that he didn't make a political statement. He asked for respect of his president, the president who he serves in the same cabinet.
No, by the way, the truth of the fact is that the entire of that meeting was not for service delivery, was a politicized meeting. And by the very nature that he applied himself in a derogatory way. And I'm saying that because it is, sometimes you don't have to audit the letter. You have to look at the spirit of the person when they are speaking. I want him to tell us one instance when the deputy president stood on any platform and insulted or acted against the will of the president. Okay. Because there hasn't been anywhere in record whatsoever. So what we want to tell CS Tobiko, as a Kenyan, respectfully, that Kenyans are interested in service delivery. And anytime he politics, cabinet should imply himself in terms of getting him out of office. Because he's not delivering work, now he has become a politician, and we have 2 years of what he called Big Four, not seeing any fruits of it.
Vivian,
so I think the man is applying himself to vain politics.
The deputy president may not have verbally spoken or, abused anyone, but his surrogates have, his proxies have. Senator Kipchumba Murkomen was the first one to throw down the gauntlet and lead an onslaught against the president on national television, calling him names. I don't know, if you don't watch news, I can't help you. But he did on national television.
He called the president names?
Yes, he said he was inferior. He said many things about the president. So for CS Tobiko to come out in defense of his boss, there's nothing wrong with that. And remember, respect is earned. Waswahili wanasema, mkuki kwa nguruwe, uchungu kwa binadamu. Kwa hivyo, if he's feeling like he's the first one to stand on the podium and say, oh, hii kitu haitaki kiburi, hii kitu haitaki, matusi, but his surrogates are out there calling people names. Even himself, during the 2017, electioneering period, would call people names. He branded Right Honorable Raila Odinga Mganga.
Well, the president also said things. They all said things.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So don't stand up and say, oh, I want to be respected. Give respect first. It goes both ways. Right. You give respect, you get it. But you cannot cry wolf, cry wolf and say, I need to be respected. But you're not giving the due respect. So it goes both ways. There's no such thing as, the CSs have crossed over their mandate. They are defending, basically, their boss. And whatever he was doing was not a political event, so to speak. When you say he's not delivering on service, is there proof that he's not delivering on service? As a CS?
Let me just get Justus in on this one as well.
Can we have allegations based on, facts?
Okay, let me get Justus in on this particular conversation as well. At where we stand, we have a government that has a lot on its plate to deliver. But when you hear such accusations going from a CS to the deputy president, who's essentially, as I'm saying here, second in command, if anything does happen, when the president leaves the country, this is essentially that CS's boss. How do we get this government to work and move in one direction to deliver what they promised Kenyans before 2022?
I don't think there is enough in terms of changing the nature and the culture of our political system, because I hear my sister talk about Kipchumba Murkomen being somebody's surrogate. If Kipchumba Murkomen is somebody's surrogate, what about Murathe? Is it the same logic? Would we apply the same logic if Kipchumba Murkomen is someone's surrogate? Would we also say that the insults, the amount and the torrents of insults Murathe has been hurling at the deputy president, would you also make the same assumption that he's also an attack dog for somebody else? So, and I want to believe that if that logic would be consistent, then we would also want to imagine that all these people who've been hurling insults at the deputy president are some people's attack dogs. Two, I don't think the nature of Jubilee and the handshake and the BBI and all this drama, I don't think there is any hope of change in the near future, because I think there is an obsession with the 2022 politics and the narratives of 2022. So in my opinion, I do not think that things are going to get better. I think I submit that things could even get worse, because and even the BBI that is being touted as one that is going to change the architecture of this country is purely a 2022 management platform for some politicians who want to reincarnate themselves, who are scared of oblivion into a future that they are not very sure. Some governors have got an interest in the BBI. On yesterday, you had Governor of Paranya saying, because of this BBI, I expect to get, and he was begging right in front of the populace, Raila, to give him a position. in Nairobi as a result, of course, of BBI. So the BBI is a creation of the elites. It is a creation that is meant to give a chance and oxygen, to breathe oxygen to the second-term governors. And some of these politicians who are also so much into that their terms are coming to an end and they would not fathom the idea of exiting the stage. And therefore they believe to give themselves a second chance is to create a document in the name of BBI. Because honestly, I've heard my sister talk about BBI coming to create jobs. I mean, if it were not a tragic, it would be laughable. Those basically are administrative and policy. We don't need BBI to create jobs in this country. You only need to stop stealing. You only need to ensure that there is a proper management of public affairs. We only need to bring down this drama of politicking 24/7. We only need our cabinet secretaries, the deputy president, the president himself, to stop politicking and focus on service delivery. Otherwise, if every 10 years, Kenyans are fed with fiction of a solution to their problems in the name of BBI. In 2017, it was Kanan and Yango Kumi, Yaruta Kumi. In 2013, it was, in 2008, it was about the 2010 constitution. 2002, it was Yote Yawezekana Bila Moi. You see the amount of fiction the Kenyans are fed every 10 years in the name of some magical solution to their problems. The culture and the habits of politicians do not change, but we only change. We keep moving one or two other items in the name of constitution, Yote Yawezekana Bila Moi, or in 1992, the song was, with the multi-party democracy, all our problems were going to disappear in 1992. In 2002, all the problems disappear Bila Moi. 2008, all the problems disappear because of 2010 constitution. 2019, 2020, there is a new song called BBI and the handshake that is going to wash away all our problems as a country. What a kind of a lie that. In fact, Kenyans are becoming addicted to hope. They are feeding Kenyans with false hope every 10 years. And I think Kenyans, we must wake up to this balderdash of politicians generating fictions in the name of solutions to our problems. These politicians do not intend to solve our problems because they thrive on our problems. Our poverty gives them hope of being re-elected and re-elected, because when you call a rally in Uhuru Park today, you will get thousands and thousands of cheering Kenyans. They don't do that in Upper Hill and other areas because they think the poor Kenyans are addicted to being fed on hope and actually in this particular case, false hope. So I don't think BBI, I don't think Raila, I don't think any politicians at the moment has got the intention, the will, and the software, because the hardware is there, Chef. The hardware is the constitution. We have the hardware. What we miss in this country, I keep repeating, is the software, the manners, the culture, the moral bearing to do things right. We do not need to rearrange and re-engineer a new constitutional framework for us to give jobs, for us to fight corruption. No, we only need to go back to the culture of fighting corruption, of being fair. Look at the manner in which the president has been appointing retired civil servants to positions when the young Kenyans are being given chambers and wheelbarrows to do something called Kazi Mtaani. I mean, and these are graduates, these are teachers, these are masters holders being given chambers and spades to do some funny jobs in the world, with all the due respect.
Justice, I want to bring it back to the studio, but before I do that, Justice, quick question. I want you just to answer this in 10 seconds, because you've said that the hardware is in place, you have the Constitution, but when you interrogate that document and we have the DP as a principal assistant, it's still very vague as to what this assisting might be, because we have a scenario where we have a super CS in the name of Matiang'i who's chairing cabinet committees, making sure he's following up on development projects and all of that. And we have an increasingly, perceptively, that is, sidelined deputy president. Do we need more prescription as to what exactly the DP will be assisting in, so that we know what his role in the government is as well, so that he's not called a clerk by CS in his government?
No, I don't think so. It's still the issue of the software. It is the manners. We do not need to begin putting everything in the constitution and saying these are the roles of the deputy president. In fact, the constitution in itself articulates that the deputy president ideally is the principal assistant of the president. If we did not have these bad manners of undermining the number twos of this country, and what Ruto is going through is what every other vice president and deputy president has gone through, from the first vice president of this country to the second vice president, to Moi himself, to Kibaki himself, to Josephat Karanja, to Saitoti, to Kalon. I mean, this country is replete with the history of deputy and the vice president being mistreated by junior state officials because of the manner in which once. And I think, Jeff, the biggest challenge we have in this country is the politics of deceit and the politics of use and dump. Once we are beyond that, we do not need to begin to engineer a new constitution to describe what a deputy president should do.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, and I've given you the example, Jeff, of United Kingdom, the Britain. They do not have, ideally, a written constitution.
Okay, Justus, let me bring it to studio as well.
Culture and good manners. I think politicians and people holding office know how to treat each other and execute their mandate without a prescriptive constitution.
Okay, Justus, let me bring it to studio on that one. Vivian, I'll come to you on this. I want us to move it slightly forward because we can go round and round with this statement for a while. Because as these statements are being made on one hand, yesterday we had the outgoing governor of Machakos throwing his hat in the ring pretty early, saying that you guys have been speaking about the fact that you want new leadership. Here I am presenting myself. I'm ready to do this, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. What is your take on yesterday's bid for presidency? So
first of all, before I answer that, let me just respond to Justus and
very
tell
quickly,
him,
please, because of time.
we are not in the UK, we are not in Europe, and as much as whatever works for them, we need local solutions tailored to our environment, tailored to our culture. Anyway, that said, in regard to Machakos governor's bid, Governor Mutua's bid for the presidency, my take, it's dead on arrival.
Why is that?
Because the truth is, you need a critical mass. A critical mass in this context would be about 25 to 30% of, say, the voters as to support your bid. So, well, I know the governor got about 200 and something thousand votes when he was vying for governor to win the Machakos governor's seat. But vying for presidency is different. The threshold is much higher. Number one, you need to get at least more than half of all registered votes. Of all votes cast. If we're going by just 2017 presidential election as a guide, we know that we had about 19 million voters, and I think President Uhuru Kenyatta got about 8-point-something million votes. I do not think Governor Mutua, as at now, has managed to get to amass support of at least even maybe 5 million votes, which would comprise a critical mass. And also, apart from that, you need support, you need to get at least 25% votes in at least half of the counties in Kenya. Before, I think you launch your presidential bid, I think it's important to try and amass support, because at the end of the day, people from Turkana, Garissa, Mandera, Wajir, Coast, Western, Rift Valley regions, Cumberland would have to vote for you. And at the moment, the way things are right now, even if you did a poll, I don't think he has gotten there. And please, let's not use Twitter trends as a guide to popularity. You can always refer to Peter Kenneth's case for that. Votes on Twitter do not count.
Okay, let me get to Dennis on this one, because we have a person who has served both in government as spokesman, went out into the political space, served as governor twice in his county, and feels the next level is to go to presidency. Vivian says, dead on arrival, this bid. What's your assessment?
I think one of the things we need to be is factual and democratic, because I think everyone in ODM tends to think that nobody else is worthy to run for the presidency.
Other than who?
Other than Raila Odinga. But the truth is, from a vying and electoral perspective, Governor Mutua has never lost an election like Raila. I mean, Raila technically has lost most of his elections. So if we are looking at success, then Mutua is way further successful than Raila Odinga, because Raila Odinga has lost every other election. that he has stood for.
The circumstances were different.
Governor Mutua, at the end of the day, no, it is success. It is success. If we're supposed to look mirror to mirror, Mutua, by the way, at his young age,
oranges.
At the end of the day, he has never lost an election. But Raila technically has been known to be a perennial loser. We don't know why. But also, it's important.
Very questionable.
It's very important to note that Governor Mutua has sustained his gains. On the other hand, Raila has clawed back his gains. Because once you look at the journey,
what I want us to
why
do is
are we comparing
she just gave an example
Governor Mutua with Right Honorable Raila Odinga?
No.
I mean,
you know, I'm giving you an
order,
example.
please.
I'm giving you an example. Allow me. You see, they don't even want anybody to
focus
talk
on Governor Mutua. Where are you comparing the two?
No, Raila Odinga wants presidency, Governor Mutua. So at the end of the day, I'm putting them on the same platform. You understand? I am not looking at Governor Mutua as a less Kenyan to Raila Odinga. You understand? I am comparing them at par.
Nobody said
one
he is less.
has won an election, the other one has never won an election. That I'm just, you know, if we are discussing about a presidential runoff, these facts are going to float, and I'm just using them. Even in terms of developmental
gains. If we are using facts, one has gotten 6 million votes.
I need some order on this. I'm going to Justus in 1 second. What I need from you
has gotten 200,000 votes.
Do you feel it's a formidable bid? Is it a bid to watch? Very quickly.
The most important thing is that this is another Kenyan exercising his democratic right.
And he is allowed.
So at the end of the day, let us give every other Kenyan an opportunity. There are people from certain quarters who have said other Kenyans are not worthy to be on the ballot, and they've stopped them. Let me just say something on this.
Let me get to Justice because of time.
I'm just going very fast. If BBI passes, we need to introduce certain clauses. If you have served as a president in this country, you're not eligible for any other position post-BBI. If you have served as a prime minister in this country, you're not eligible for another position post-BBI. You know why? And also we need to, they're just transitional clauses. And also we need to put a term limit to premiership, because the practice globally is that prime ministers may not have a time limit. So what we need to do
Dennis, I'll have to cut you short on that one. Let me get to Justice on this one. Your mic will be put off, Dennis.
From self-preservation.
Dennis, it was 10 seconds. Let's stick to that.
I'm giving something in
Justice, I'm coming to you on this one as well. As we've seen very quickly because of time, very passionate analysts in studio. Governor Mutua says he's ready for 2022, puts his bid in for presidency. What's your take on that in 30 seconds?
I think it's a good thing. It's the expansion of democracy. Governor Mutua served his 2 terms in Machakos, and I believe that he's got what it takes to run for the presidency. He only needs to, build a sufficient infrastructure in terms of both material and manpower to be able to mount a credible presidential campaign and stop the presidency in 2022. He may not have I don't think he's got the sufficient resources. I don't know, but I have this feeling that he may not have the sufficient resources. He may not have the sufficient manpower. But I think he has demonstrated clearly that he's got the capacity to be a good president in future. Most likely not in 2022, but I believe this is a man to watch, and that we need to keep our fingers crossed. In terms of, is it also my closing remarks, Chair?
It is.
So I also want to say that we need to, as a country, stop this obsession with re-engineering new constitutional framework every 10 years. I think we need to move away from that. I think as a country, we need to fully implement the 2010 constitution. And by the way, I know this, the president and the former prime minister, because of the machinery they hold and the sway they have in state power, definitely we are going to see a reenactment of the new constitution by 2022, maybe next year. But I want to believe that it will be for the interest and the good of this nation. Otherwise, I mean, honestly, it is not a very static document. And I think if they were to rearrange and refocus the new constitution in the manner that it is going to alleviate the problems that Kenyans are facing and believe in Kenyans, well, so be it.
We leave it at that as far as it's concerned. Quite a power-packed discussion right here, and of course emotions at times just running a bit high or on set. As always, many thanks for being right here. Quite a discussion we've had this morning. Justus Maina on the conversation from Bomet, in studio Vivian Ta, Dennis Tumbe. I have a feeling these two will continue this conversation over tea once they leave this studio.
But also,
on a plate of Ndoma as well. But we want you also to weigh in on the conversation. You can get me at I am Jeff Mote or at K24 TV. A couple of more winners this morning before we wrap up the newspaper review. Let's have them up. Chemais, Shipkorir, Edwin from Koi Baben, Marakwet getting themselves the sports news in the PD and getting themselves 250 shillings worth of airtime. Good on you. We have another winner. Let's have it up. My People Daily Screenshot. I'm Ruth Kagweria from Meru. We have Jesse from Embu. Amepata kopi yake ya gazeti la PD. Jesse, we see you, and for that, you also get yourself 250 shillings worth of airtime, all courtesy of the PD and Safaricom. One more before we wrap this up. That was the last one that we have right there. So, of course, you could be the winner tomorrow, and what you need to do is download your copy, send that screenshot to the WhatsApp number at the bottom of the screen, and you get yourself airtime, all courtesy of the People Daily and Safaricom. Short break right now. Back on the other side as we get interactive. This is K24 This Morning.